Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Real Decor. I'm your host, Jackson, and no side tangents here on Real Decor. We get straight to the point. I'm here with Reece Loomis. What's up, man?
Nothing, man. How about you?
I'm chilling. I just got off work. I had pasta for dinner. That shit was electric.
Hell yeah.
We're here to talk about. Now we're gonna, as grown men do, we're gonna talk about Disney.
Yes. Yes, I love it.
So this weekend, we're recording this on Tuesday. Over the weekend, they had D23, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's a Disney Disney convention where they talk about all things Disney. Lots of big announcements out of Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, etc. And we're just gonna kind of run through everything, give some thoughts, give some opinions, and yeah, let's just get into it. Reece, you ready?
I am so ready. Let's do it.
So we're gonna kind of speed run through the Disney Studios stuff first, because I think that's probably the section I'm least interested in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you and me both.
I don't know if yeah, okay, it's both of us then. So the first thing, and I guess the thing most people care about, is Avatar 3. We got a title and some concept art. It's called Fire and Ash. Concept art looks cool. I have no opinions. Reece, how about you?
I could not give less of a shit about Avatar. They're good-looking movies that I do not care about the characters at all, or the universe, or like anything that happens. I slept through The Way of Water in the theater, so...
You're not gunning for Big Jim?
I don't even know who that is, to be fucking honest.
You don't
Is that
know
a
Big
character?
No, James Cameron.
Oh yeah. How old is he now doing this? 80?
Jesus Christ. Hold on. That's actually a fantastic question. Let me look this up. He's 69 years old.
Yeah. Like
69 years old and complaining about sex in superhero movies. Gotta respect it.
He complained about sex in superhero movies? There's no sex in superhero movies.
Exactly. That's what he was saying.
Oh, okay. He thinks there should be more sex.
Basically.
Cool.
Well, wasn't he gonna do he was gonna do a Spider-Man movie, right? Where he banged Mary Jane on like the Brooklyn Bridge.
I don't know about that part. But like, where's the sex in Avatar? That's my question.
I feel like there was some like sexual implications. I've only seen the first Avatar once, I'm gonna be honest, but I feel like I remember there being some sexual I am a grown-ass man talking about the sexual implications of Avatar, and I'm just now realizing how that sounds. So I'm gonna move on from that. We're gonna talk about Snow White, which is just, yeah, it looks terrible.
Yeah,
Greta Gerwig wrote this. Did you know that?
You're joking.
Greta Gerwig wrote this movie. Or is one of the credited writers on this movie. Hold on, let me pull up the full like crew list. Because it's directed by Mark Webb.
Oh, of Spider-Man fame.
Of Spider-Man fame, of what's it called? That one like Tumblr movie.
50 Shades of Grey.
500 Days of Summer. No, 500 Days of Summer, yeah.
Okay. That was a decent movie.
It was. Yeah, so Greta Gerwig is a credited writer on this. I guess she just really needed to get her bag up a little bit. But man, it just looks miserable. It just looks really bad. The dwarves look terrible. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't like
They took the wrong message from Peter Dinklage's like rant about that. Also, hold on. No, we're not gonna, because we're not gonna rag on Rachel Zegler. We're not gonna do that. Respectfully, Gal Gadot is in this movie, and Rachel Zegler is like a good actor.
It's not even that. I just find her like annoying, like in real life, not in acting.
Why is that?
You know, people, you just can't explain it. Their personality is just like...
It's just the energy. I get what you mean.
Yeah.
So it's just like the vibes that you get is what you're kind of against? Yeah, I get it.
Just vibes.
Who's someone that I don't like because of just the vibes? I know there's got to be like a celebrity that I just like... I don't have any reason not to fuck with them. It's just the energy they give off, you know? Because I've met like... There are people in real life I've met where I could point to them and be like, I have no reason to dislike you. It's just the vibes, you know?
Should name those people.
Yeah, I know. I should call them all out right now. Shit, there's got to be a celebrity where this would apply to. And it's really going to bug me this entire podcast if I can't, like, pinpoint it right now.
Yeah, well, once you think of it, we'll come back to it.
Yeah. After that, we had Mufasa. Directed by Barry Jenkins.
Let's go.
Christ. Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on this?
I just hope he takes the money he gets from this and makes more good movies that aren't stupid and dumb.
Amen to that, because I'm hoping he can fund another Moonlight or Beale Street or two. Out of the money he gets off of this, I really need him to get back in his bag. I can't lie.
Yeah. I don't give a shit about, like, the first Lion King reboot they did was bad. It doesn't even have, like, a strong source material that's based off of, so there's no way this is good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no chance. I will actually, like, pay somebody a lot of money if this movie's good.
Oh, James Corden. That would be one.
Yeah. That's a
James Corden. I think that's a common answer. But just James Corden's aura is just all sorts of fucked up. After that, we got Moana 2. I got nothing. I just, like, I thought the first one was good. Maybe this will be good. I don't fucking know.
Yeah. First one was fine. I don't know. I hope The Rock doesn't sing as much in this one. That's about all I care about.
Zootopia 2. Similar story for me.
Yep. Like the first one. Don't really care about this one.
And then Frozen 3 and 4 got announced 2027 release date for 3, which is kind of crazy. That's a long ass time. And on top of that, it's a movie for 7-year-old girls, so I will probably never think about this again after we're done with this podcast.
Yeah, you will though, because you work in a daycare.
If I'm still working at a daycare in 3 years, I've done something very wrong with my life.
That's a great point.
Respectfully, yeah. I love my job, but if I'm still there in 3 years, I fucked up big time.
Yeah. No, I don't give a shit about Frozen 3. The first one's fine. Didn't see the second one, so who cares?
I never saw the second one.
They totally missed the hype train for Frozen, I think. Even when the second one came out.
But didn't that movie make $1 billion? Yeah, well, oh my god, $1.453 billion.
Okay, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Frozen forever. I love Frozen.
Well, see, the thing is like, unless you're like consistently around younger, like unless you have like a sibling that's like a younger cousin or younger sister that's like in that age demographic, you're probably not going to hear about it as much. It's like the same thing. Like Inside Out 2 made over $1 billion, but do you know anybody who's seen that movie?
See, that's the thing is like I was seeing shit on my social media about that, about like...
Were you really?
Yeah, and my girlfriend wanted to see it.
Oh, so wait, did you see it?
No, I didn't. She mentioned it.
Yeah, no, but it's that was a similar case where it's just, I know even less people who saw Frozen 2, but, well, outside of daycare kids, but, yeah, I think there will always be a demographic for that kind of movie, and I think Disney knows that, and that's why they're probably going to crank out like 7 of these things.
Yeah. Can't wait for Frozen 8. It's going to be really good.
Yeah.
That's when they're
we'll
finally
be fucking like 50.
Footing. Yeah.
Alright, so moving on from that, we got Pixar stuff. I guess we'll start with this. They announced, we've known about this for a little bit, but they officially announced Toy Story 5, which is kind of a loaded, this could probably be a loaded conversation, so I'll let you lay the groundwork for how you feel about this.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Toy Story movies are like probably some of the best Pixar movies. 3 was a great ending, 4 completely took a shit on that ending, and then 5 kind of feels like they're dancing on the grave of Toy Story a little bit. With this iPad kid plotline, I don't know how that's going to turn out. You said like you like 4. Like I know you like 4. I thought it was fine. It just pissed me off that it existed, really.
I get that, and I agree. It's like it's not a movie that needed to exist, but like and this is just me personally. I feel like it justified its own existence. I feel like the closure it provided with Woody and Buzz was really heartfelt, really genuine and sincere. And it's a funny, heartfelt, entertaining movie. I really have no problem with it being here because I don't feel like it undercuts the actual substance of 3 in any way. And that's kind of the biggest thing for me.
It doesn't ruin the ending, but that's why I'm even more nervous for this one.
Well, see, that's the problem because the big, emotional gut punch at the end of 4 is Woody and Buzz kind of splitting up. And now they're right back together in this one, and that does kind of feel like a slap in the face to the ending of 4 a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Not to like even play devil's advocate because I don't really care about this movie, but do you think like they'll at least wait, maybe halfway through the movie before that happens or something? Like,
Yeah, but honestly, it's like it. I don't care. I don't really think it matters. I just think on a conceptual level, that's just cheap.
yeah, I think just bringing back this franchise is just what bothers me the most. Like, what other franchise besides Toy Story like got this like perfect fucking packaged ending, like perfect send offs to all the characters, and then they like. I feel like there's so many other things they could do a sequel to.
Well, but it's not even that. It's like they did it twice.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like they had two like damn near perfect send offs. Because you can say what you want about Toy Story 4 as a film, but I think like that finale and the where everything ends up is really good. And so like when I'm going into 5 with kind of like two different headspaces because on one hand they're 4 for 4 in my opinion, but on the other hand, if you keep doing this, eventually you're gonna fucking run out of luck.
Yeah.
Because you can only have so many grand finales and grand farewells.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. It's kind of like bringing back Wolverine again with Deadpool. It's like
It is.
okay,
It very much feels like that.
and then he's gonna be back in Secret Wars, and he's never
Yeah.
literally till he's 90, like they said in the movie.
Yeah, and that joke it's like it's meant to be a joke, but then you kind of sit there and think about it and you're like, well, is it really? Like, is it really a joke? Because they don't feel like one.
I hope it's just X-23 is like kind of the main Wolverine, or fuck it, I'll take Henry
Yeah.
Cavill as Wolverine. To be so honest, I know it's not gonna
Anything
happen.
besides Jackman?
Just like yeah, just give it a new like a fresh feeling. Also like pick a younger actor, right? So you can kind of keep it going.
No, for sure.
Even Henry Cavill's like kind of old to be starting this role now.
Well, also, Henry Cavill was just playing Hugh Jackman.
I disagree. I think he brought like kind of his own distinct personality to it.
He did, but it was also I think he was very clearly kind of riffing off what Jackman was doing with the role, you know?
I can see that. Yeah.
I feel like when they cast another Wolverine, they need to pick, and I think Feige even said this, they need to really do something different with the character, which I don't know how you do that. I'm very glad I'm not the one that has to make that decision.
Yeah, it'll be hard, but there are a lot of aspects of the character from the comics that they haven't really like done justice. So I could see it working if they get somebody who is passionate about it, but who the fuck knows?
Yeah, no, I totally get that. But anyways, backtracking again to Toy Story 5, the villain of this is supposedly a bunch of Buzz Lightyears, which is, I guess, kind of cool. Whatever. iPad kids are the villain.
That is the aspect I'm the most nervous about. How they're gonna handle that.
Yeah, I mean, really anything that tries to go into like internet culture, I find most of the time it just doesn't get it.
Yeah, and it's always outdated because these movies take like a Pixar movie takes what 4 years to make. Like they're never gonna have up to date fucking references. They by the time they
you know what?
It's already gonna be outdated.
Yeah. You know what? One of the most like accurate meme internet things I've seen in a movie. Have you ever seen Spree with Joe Keery?
Yeah.
So remember in the third act where he's like going on that fucking murdering spree and shit?
Mm-hmm.
There's a bit where he's like just straight up killing people, and in the live chat you can just see someone say based. Just that, no, nothing else, just based. And I was like, wow, that's so real as fuck.
That's awesome.
There are quite a few comments in that where I'm like, oh yeah, that's how a real person on the internet would react to the situation.
Yeah. What is it? Is it just the fact that like everybody working on these movies tends to be a bit older? Because like they
I think so.
Always just fuck it up. It's never good. It's always cringe. Like even just in Deadpool, the references were pretty like recent relatively, but
let this man cook.
Yeah, damn, that was so cringy. I'm not gonna lie, that was bad.
But also, it's like, that is something a lot of people say. And there's something to be said for, a 50-year-old man trying... Ryan Reynolds, he's not 50 yet, is he? How old is he? He's 47, so I was close. There's Yeah, I think it's just the idea of that specific characters by that specific actor saying that just kind of comes off as cringe.
Yeah,
Like I still say let me cook. I still say that.
yeah,
You know, it's still something that's in my vocabulary, but I still like when Deadpool said that I was like, "Oh fucking hell."
yeah. No, I agree. It's like when you hear people that normally say shit like that, it sounds organic.
Well, and it's like the thing is Deadpool never talked like a real person. I don't know. It is. I think it's just because you know it's supposed to be like a wink and a nod. Like if you were there was a scene where two teenage characters were talking and one of them was like if there was a scene with Kamala Khan and Kate Bishop and Kamala was just like casually, very casually like oh let me cook. That would be a lot less jarring than Deadpool saying, "Let this man cook."
Yeah, I agree. Especially just a younger person saying it would still be cringe though. I'm not gonna lie, it'd still be bad.
It would all just depend on the execution. In a Marvel movie, would there ever be a way where that would be good? Probably not. But also to give credit, I feel like the teenagers, like the younger characters in the Homecoming trilogy, were they were fairly well written. Like
Yeah.
the Penis Parker line is still something where I'm like, that is absolutely something a real person would say. But anyways, yeah, moving on. We have Incredibles 3. I hope this is good.
Yeah, I'd probably have the most faith in this one out of like any of these that have been announced. They're bringing back Brad Bird.
Yeah, I really got nothing to say. If nothing else, I'm excited for another banger Michael Giacchino score.
Score is so fucking good in those movies.
Yeah, oh my god, man, that's like I was arguing with not arguing, but debating someone the other day about whether Hans Zimmer or Giacchino was better, and it's like I don't know that Hans Zimmer maybe has one or two scores that could even be in the same conversation as The Incredibles.
I feel like his scores are so different too. They're not really going for like a strong like theme that you remember. I feel like Hans Zimmer scores are kind of more like ambiance, like background shit. I really
for
fucking
sure.
like the Interstellar score though. That's a banger score.
Beautiful. No, that and Dune would be the two. Those are his
Dune's
two
fucking
best.
amazing, yeah.
Lion King is really good too. Those are his three strongest
Damn,
scores.
did he
I
do
feel
the
like
original Lion King?
he did. Yeah.
The music in that movie's like,
And he did the reboot or the new animated movie too, or the new the Favreau one. He did that.
The non-live action one.
Yes, exactly. The live action animated one.
Yeah.
After that we have Hoppers. This is exciting. This is real exciting.
Yeah, you explained this very well. This is a movie that you would come up with, off like 2 or 3 edibles. So,
Yo, bro, I got this fucking like, I got this fucking idea for like a movie, right? And there's this girl, and she really likes beavers. So what she decides is one day she wants to be a beaver. So she says, "I'm gonna put my head in a beaver and put my brain in a beaver." So she does. And then she's a robot beaver, but then this guy doesn't like the beavers, so he tries to kill them, and that's gonna be the movie. Like it's that type of shit, and I fucking love that. I love that energy so goddamn much.
yeah, and it's such a 180 from like sticking to this very safe shit of like, okay, we're doing another Toy Story. Don't you like Toy Story again? Like total deviation, just throwing the most wild concept. I don't know. I'm here for it. I hope it's ridiculous and fun and weird. And good.
Yeah. I am completely with that.
Anything but more Toy Story. Please, God.
Yeah, and it's like, I like kooky original ideas. This is kooky and original. And I saw someone say, oh, this is just Avatar, but it's like, Avatar would be cooler if it were about beavers.
Yeah, and Avatar isn't silly at all. It's very serious, actually. That's why I hate it.
After that, we have Win or Lose, which is an original TV show, and they dropped a trailer, and it looks very cool. I have been excited for this.
Yeah, this is like sort of like a pseudo anthology, right? Where they're jumping around different perspectives of like the same event.
Yeah. I'm pumped. I hope this is good. And the animation looks sick. It kind of reminds me of it almost feels like Mitchell's vs. Machines-esque in how it kind of plays with animation styles, which I love. I fucking love that movie.
Yeah, I need to watch it.
Dude, it's so good.
It's the Spider-Verse guys, right?
Lord and Miller produced it.
Okay.
Yeah. But very much a post-Spider-Verse like movie in terms of how it plays with animation. Yeah, so moving on from there, I guess we can cover the Marvel animated stuff. We got a couple reveals out of this.
Yeah, I am definitely looking forward to. Are you a X-Men 97 fan?
I haven't Okay,
Dude,
so
fucking
here's the
watch that
thing.
shit.
I know. But I'm trying to watch the original series before I get there.
I don't think you need to watch it at all.
I know, that's what everybody tells me, but it's just like, it's the way my brain is wired where I just feel like I have to see it.
I That's crazy. Like I'm the same way too, but most things, but I don't know. You do not want to miss this shit. Like just promise me you'll fucking watch it at some point. It's so goddamn good.
I will. I will. I'm gonna try and get to it before the end of the year. Um, because every clip I've seen of it is just fucking electric, dude.
Yeah, and I hope you haven't gotten any like major spoilers.
I know about, I guess, spoilers if you haven't seen it. I know about, like, Captain America, Daredevil's. Like, I know about a lot of the cameos.
Okay. You just don't want like plot spoilers.
That's exactly it. I don't know much about that.
Do you know about the drama with like they kind of axed the
Dude,
showrunner?
okay, so
And we don't know why still, right?
it's been driving me crazy. And I haven't watched the show, but like what that guy is saying on Twitter, like, they're not even inviting me to the Emmys. What the fuck did this guy do?
It had to be so bad, but like, why the fuck wouldn't they just come out and say it? It's so weird.
When it happened, people were like, "Oh, it's because he has an OnlyFans," but like he had that when they hired him, so
Yeah,
it's
there's no
clearly
way.
fucking not that. It's obviously an HR issue. So like, what the fuck was it? No, I mean I've heard he isn't exactly a pleasant person to work with. Just at least those are just things I've read. I've just in previous shows he's been on, I guess he hasn't been very highly regarded, but this is so strange to me because usually when something like it's been months and we still don't have the slightest idea what it was, and that's just so weird.
It makes me think it's like something that implicates other people than just him.
Yeah, I
Why
don't
the
know,
fuck are they
man.
being so cagey about it? It's
I
scary.
don't know. Well, it's like I want if he keeps talking shit, I wonder if Marvel will just come out and be like, "All right, this is what happened." Bam, bam, bam. Or not even like Marvel making a statement, but just leaking stuff to like Deadline or Hollywood Reporter and just being like, "Yeah, this is what happened," and then they'll say, "Oh, a source informed us that." Blah blah
An
blah.
anonymous source that nobody can identify.
Yeah, yeah. It's not Kevin Feige.
Here's the thing though, like X-Men 97, like season 2, we know I forget this fucker's name, but we know he like worked on the majority of it. So I know that'll be good.
Yeah.
I am a little worried about the show after he's, fully out of the writer's room, which I think is like partway through season 3 is when he stopped working on it.
I
We'll
believe
see.
you're right. Yeah.
We'll see. What do you think about some of these other animated things?
Yeah. So I have a funny story. With the Marvel Zombie show, I sat my brother down and I said, "Nate, let's play a game. I want you to guess the three main characters of this show." I gave him clues too. He guessed Shang-Chi pretty quickly. But do you know who the other two main, like, of the lead three are?
No.
Yeah, well, one of them is Aquafina and the other one is Jimmy Woo for some reason.
Okay. Oh, what are they doing? Why?
How did we end up here? I think Shang-Chi is a cool pick.
Yeah, and Shang-Chi is like a fine character. I really think they're just trying to, like, I don't know if you noticed this in What If too, where they're like really pushing the characters that have movies coming out in their upcoming slate.
I don't know. It's just like, why the fuck you could pick any three characters out of the entire MCU. You have access to the entire Fox roster now. You can use any X-Men character, any Fantastic Four character. You can pick literally any single character in Marvel Comics. If I'm not mistaken, they have access to the entire Spider-Man roster. You have access to the entire fucking, like, everything. You have access to everything. And for whatever fucking reason, you decide to pick Jimmy Woo and goddamn Aquafina.
Okay, this show is gonna be bad. I mean, I don't think the concept was enough to merit its own show to begin with, but now I'm really not looking forward to it.
It's rated TVMA too. Did you know that?
I did, and like I don't know, that'll be cool. Like this is what I think about Marvel Zombies. Like this is a great like 5-minute fan film pitch. Like, oh, how would kind of zombies exist in a universe where we have Marvel superheroes. There's so much cool shit. Like even the footage they showed at D23 of like, did you see this? Like Shang-Chi, like the rings fucking come off and his like arm is
That's
turning
sick.
into a zombie. Like there's so much cool
That's
shit
sick.
like that. It's just not enough to carry its own fucking show.
Did you see the What If episode?
Yeah, that was terrible.
Terrible. Just genuinely egregious.
What was the Happy
that
Hogan
was
bullshit that they referenced
my
20
God.
fucking times where it's like, pew pew. Is that what he says?
Yeah.
That was like the stalest joke the first time they said it. And then they said it 20 more goddamn fucking times.
Yeah, that was real bad. And the Uncle Ben needle, like the name drop of Uncle Ben was just hilarious.
Yeah. Scott Lang being in a jar.
Oh God. Poor Ant-Man. He's just he's been cooked. He's been cooked lately.
Yeah. He had the worst third movie probably. Actually no. Did he have the worst third movie in the MCU?
Absolutely.
I feel like I'm missing a really shitty one. But no, I'm thinking of Love and Thunder, but that was the fourth one.
That was 4, yeah. No, that movie very much hurt me. But after that, we have Eyes of Wakanda. I'm a little more excited for this one.
I heard Iron Fist might show up.
Yeah, so they did confirm a Iron Fist. We don't know which, like, who. It's obviously, like, this is a prequel to everything, so it's not Danny. It's before Danny's time, so I don't know who it'll be. But I am very excited because that knocks, like, 3 out of 5 big shows at least being acknowledged to some degree, right? So you got Daredevil, Punisher, and now Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. I'm happy to see that. Even if it's not Danny, I really would like to see Danny back at some point. I'm a Finn Jones sympathizer.
I feel bad because like the show was bad. It wasn't really his fault.
The thing is, he's so goddamn good in that episode of Luke Cage season 2.
Oh yeah, I'm sure I've seen that, but I don't even remember. I remember him being in Defenders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was good in that as well. But that episode of Luke Cage Heroes for Hire, that was the name of the episode. That was probably his best outing as Iron Fist, in my opinion. I think him having Luke to bounce off, because Mike Coulter is just fucking irreplaceable, man. Just so good. And also, that brings me to another point. Why don't they put Luke Cage in a fucking zombie show?
Yeah.
Like the man who's bulletproof.
Because it needs to be Awkwafina Jackson.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on. We also have Spider-Man Freshman Year. This show has been through the ringer from what I can tell, but I am excited.
I think I'm excited. I really like Spider-Man.
I like Spider-Man too.
Coleman Domingo being Norman Osborn.
Awesome. That man.
I am really looking forward to
that.
that.
What a voice that man has. Like, what the fuck? His voice is crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he'll be good. I hope there's a big focus on Norman.
I agree.
It looks like Daredevil's gonna show up.
But no Kingpin, which is odd.
Yeah. I'm just excited to see Daredevil and Spider-Man fucking interact for the first time.
Yes.
Ever, right? On screen?
No, he was in the 90s cartoon.
Oh, okay.
But, like, the first time in a long time, yeah. And that's a dynamic I really fuck with in the comics.
Yeah, and I just feel like we were never going to see it in the MCU. Like,
I feel like, naturally, that's what Spider-Man 4 should be, right? Like, that makes sense to me. In Spider-Man, in all 3 Spider-Man, they have, like, that MCU, big MCU character guest starring, right?
Yeah.
I just think it makes sense for it to be Daredevil next, to me at least. Like, that's just the logical next step. Because, the other 3, you got Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Nick Fury, like the fucking big game Avengers. I think it makes sense to scale it back to Daredevil, because he's someone that is not on most of the big heroes' radar, I don't think.
Yeah, I'm going to hope you're right. That'd be fucking awesome. I mean, he showed up in No Way Home, so
yeah, exactly.
It's not that far out there.
But, yeah, anyways.
Which, by the way, that's like one of the best MCU cameos ever.
I love, dude. And he was back like he never left.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of bothers me because when people talk about like the best comic book castings of all time, Robert Downey Jr. and Hugh Jackman will be the 2 you hear the most. And rightfully so, they're great. But like I feel like Charlie Cox as Daredevil is more irreplaceable than either of them.
I mean, I agree. Like, when I think about Daredevil at this point, I see Charlie Cox.
And the same goes for Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin, by the way. It's unreal, just the levels of nuance. I could gush about Daredevil all day, and we will later. Also, did that cover all the animated shows?
Yeah, we got it.
I feel like I'm missing one.
Oh, What If? But
I don't care about that. I mean, well, see, here's the thing. There's gonna be a What If episode where Moon Knight wears like a fucking Pacific Rim ass suit and fights a giant monster, and that's awesome. But I probably won't watch it anyways because I don't like this show.
I stopped after season 1. It's a cool concept that I think they just did fuck all with. I would like to see the Watcher show up in like live action though. Jeffrey Wright.
I agree with that.
That'd be cool.
Did you see the Doctor Strange episode of season 1?
Oh yeah, that was like really, really fucking amazing.
That is like low-key one of the best things they put out since Endgame. And that is probably the only episode of that show I will ever watch again.
Mm-hmm. And even then, like, I don't know. I don't love the animation.
I don't either. But that episode is good enough to where it doesn't totally bother me.
I agree. And it's very, like, there's a lot of expression in the characters, at least. Like, it doesn't ruin the emotional impact of it.
Yeah. Alright, so moving on from that, we're going to hit Star Wars animation. Guess what we got out of that panel, Reece?
Nothing.
Absolutely fuck all, which was really sad. I was disappointed to hear that. I was really banking on the next animated show and now, because, geez, like, I'm pretty sure since Disney bought Star Wars, since Rebels started, has there ever really been a significant break? When did Resistance end? Hold on. Okay, that was, there really hasn't been a big break in Star Wars animated content. So I'm a little nervous because they've always had a show going. And I've always really loved having a show going. I really enjoyed all the Bad Batch. I enjoyed having Clone Wars back. I love Rebels. I really want another animated Star Wars show because I feel like Star Wars, at least in terms of TV, generally thrives a little more in the animated format.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure they're working on stuff. We know they are, but I would like it next year, please. And maybe we will. I don't know.
We'll, like, find out about it next year.
Yeah, I was really hoping to get to know what was next. Even if we didn't get, like, any details, just a general idea of what was coming next would have been really nice.
Yeah, just something. I feel like they're kind of scaling back the Star Wars stuff because the public interest in Star Wars is kind of not what it used to be, which is sad because it's just one shitty movie, essentially.
Well, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I really think Disney Plus did a lot more damage to the reputation of Star Wars than Rise of Skywalker did. I mean, maybe for you it was Rise of Skywalker, but you gotta remember that movie still made over $1 billion.
Yeah, you're right. I remember nobody liked it,
no,
even when it came out.
But, like, nobody liked the prequels when they came out. You know? So it's like a bad Star Wars movie has never been able to kill it. I think the thing with Disney Plus that's really hurt it is the quantity of it, and also just the... Because, like, say what you will about Rise of Skywalker, that's not really a bland movie. You know? That is a fascinating
That is
movie.
One thing it isn't. You're right.
It's a fascinating movie.
You're right. It's a fascinating...
and I don't think there is a bland Star Wars movie. I'm going to be completely honest with you.
Solo.
I like Solo. I'm a Solo defender. But I honestly, I can understand that. I can understand that more than any other one. But, all right. One, I'll grant you one, even though I don't totally agree. But my point being, it's like, I feel like the amount of just kind of bland, uninspired Star Wars we've gotten on Disney Plus has kind of been a lot more detrimental than Rise of Skywalker was, you know?
Yeah.
Do you remember, I mean, it's easy to forget, but do you remember how desperate everybody was for Ewan McGregor to come back as Kenobi?
I do.
Have you ever heard, like, do you hear anybody talk about that show?
I just remember everyone hated it when it came out, and they said the Darth Vader fight was good, but everything else sucked.
But, like, in the year of our Lord, 2024, do you hear people mention that show?
No.
Exactly. But you'll hear people talk about, like, the sequel still. You'll hear people talk about the prequels still. Like, people still discuss that. They brought back Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen and just nothing. It just left no cultural impact. And I think that's a lot more damning than Rise of Skywalker to me, you know?
Yeah. Now that you put it like that, you're so right.
So, yeah, it's interesting to me that now we're kind of, and I guess this is a good segue into just talking about Star Wars in general. Uh, it's interesting to me that, like, Disney Plus has done, in my opinion, just a lot of bad things to the quality of Star Wars. Um, and so naturally, the first movie we're gonna get is a Mandalorian movie. And what's crazy to me is that what kind of started this whole Disney Plus frenzy was Solo. They released it like 6 months after Last Jedi. They dropped it not even 5 months, right? Because it was May. They dropped it the same month as Infinity War, and it underperformed shockingly, right? When you put it up against the biggest movie of the fucking year and one of the biggest movies of all time, yeah, no duh. So it's baffling to me that they're doing that again. They're putting the Mando movie out the same fucking month as Doomsday.
Yeah, and is this going to be in theaters or is
It's
this
theaters.
going on
No, it's
straight on
theaters.
Disney Plus? Okay, so and they gave this like a movie production budget, right?
Yes.
Yeah, this is going to flop.
But what I don't understand is, like, you're bringing back Star Wars after almost 10 years to the theaters with a TV movie.
Yeah, of a character that people have already long since like stopped giving a fuck about. Like if people aren't going to get excited about Kenobi with Ewan McGregor coming back, they're not caring about
And
it.
I just want to remind you, they're currently working on a movie with the director of Logan that is being written by the guy that wrote One Way Out, the episode of Andor, One Way Out.
Which one was that?
That was the Prison Break episode. So he wrote Kino's speech. He wrote Luthen's monologue at the end. That entire arc he wrote, and they got him writing a Star Wars movie that the director of Logan is going to direct.
That might be good. What's the concept of it?
It's about the first Jedi. It's supposed to be like a religious epic set like 2,000 years before Phantom Menace.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds more promising than the Mandalorian and Grogu.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that would be a lot more exciting, a much more exciting return to the Star Wars theatrical experience than the Mandalorian and Grogu. And even the Rey movie would be more exciting, you know? I would be pumped to go back to a movie and seeing Rey again. I like Rey. And it's baffling to me that they're choosing the least interesting option for a return to. I have been dying to see Star Wars in a theater again, man. Like, I went to that Rogue One re-release and I was excited. Yeah. And I went to Phantom Menace. Like, I will take any opportunity to see old Star Wars movies in the theaters. So I'm beyond excited to see it back on the big screen again because I feel like that's where live action Star Wars really belongs. But the thing is that Star Wars is always doing something interesting visually, you know?
Yeah, and this is just gonna look like the show.
Yeah, like it goes without saying how the original three or the original trilogy and the prequels, it goes without saying how those are revolutionary visually, right?
Yeah, of course.
And the sequels,
I mean, the fact that they look good now alone is a testament to that.
And the sequels, like, they didn't push any boundaries necessarily, but you're going to be hard pressed to find blockbusters that look as real as those.
Yeah, those still look. I mean, compared to like some of the shit we've been getting from Marvel recently, those look pretty good.
No, I'm gonna say they've got great visuals. The special effects are fucking impeccable. ILM killed it on all three of those.
I think Last Jedi is the worst looking one. Like some of the green screens in that.
I would agree about the green screen, but it's so interesting from a lighting and compositional standpoint.
Yeah. I just think the effects are the most noticeable. I also have not rewatched Rise of Skywalker since it came out.
Yeah. But Solo, I feel like, is very interesting as well because the visuals of that movie very much subvert the tone, and I think that's fascinating. You don't really see bold swings like that in Hollywood very often. You know, it's so mucky and nasty looking, but it's a funny and kind of lighthearted movie. It's a very interesting, like, clash of tones, and Rogue One manages to just perfectly capture the aesthetics of A New Hope. I don't think there have been a lot of movies that have tried to modernize like old franchise looks. I don't think any of them have been as successful as Rogue One.
Yeah, what's that director's name?
Gareth Edwards. Yeah,
he did really good.
And shot by Greg Fraser.
Okay, yeah. And he did that Star Wars movie that wasn't a Star Wars movie recently.
Oh yeah, The Creator, which Greg Fraser also kind of worked on. Which Greg Fraser, if you don't know, one of the best in the game. Batman, Dune Part 1 and 2.
The Batman?
Yeah, the Batman. He's one of the best in the business. And his work on Rogue One is beautiful. But this is just a very long-winded way of saying The Mandalorian looks very visually uninteresting now. It hasn't done anything bold with its visuals since Season 2. And I don't see this being any different. Well, actually, speaking of bold, like, visual choices with Mando, Greg Fraser worked on the first season. And I think Season 2 looks even better. But Season 3 just does not look interesting or good. And I fear for the way this movie will look. Because it's still, like, most of my life, Star Wars had always looked interesting, right?
Yeah.
Because I think I remember watching Kenobi and that being the first time where I was like, oh, there's just nothing for me to latch on to from a visual standpoint here.
Yeah.
Because, like, Book of Boba Fett, I don't think looks particularly good a lot of the time, but it's at least interesting. Like, the fucking, like, Spy Kids aesthetic is kind of kooky, you know? I don't know. That's just it's a very specific complaint of mine. But they showed a trailer, and the trailer was just member berries, you know, snowtroopers. You got the AT-AT, the AT-RT, you got the fucking Babu Fricks, you got Grogu, you got all that shit. And Zeb and the Razor Crest, and it's like, alright, man, I get it. Action figures.
Yep. It's movies like that, if I know one thing about movies that rely on references, it's that they last in the cultural zeitgeist.
Yeah, no, they absolutely last.
We're going to be talking about Mando for a long fucking time.
I hope it's good, man. Like, I've been a bit of a negative Nilly, but I really am rooting for that to be good. I'm not going to hold my breath or anything, but, you know, if Ludwig comes back to score...
I really wish it wasn't Jon Favreau directing it.
I mean, the thing is, the episode of Mando he directed is one of the best. That's the thing.
Yeah, his movies, well, like, I don't know, it's like he can direct good stuff, but, like, I don't know, that Lion King movie is one of the worst looking fucking things I've ever seen. I feel like when he's doing these big Disney, like, paycheck movies, he just does not give a fuck. And I think that's why they keep bringing him back. Like, he just gets it done.
I think he cares about... I think it's very clear he's very passionate about Mando, but I also think, and this is a big problem, he wrote every episode of Season 3.
Did he really?
He wrote every single episode.
Is that the one where Lizzo and Jack Black are in it? Is that Season 3?
I think that show needs a writer's room.
I think every show, like, benefits from that. Almost.
Absolutely. Acolyte had one, and that's nice. I had problems with my writing of the writing in that show, but I think that show also probably benefited from having a group of people. It's very apparent to me when watching Mando Season 3 that it's like one dude.
with nobody telling him no.
Basically, him and Filoni are just kind of... Because, like, here's the thing. I'm going to tell you something that really pisses me off, Reece. A lot of times you'll hear people blame Kathleen Kennedy for, like, everything that goes wrong in these shows, right? Everything that's bad. But I think that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Because from everything I've heard from every single creative, and I think Kenobi is the only exception to this, it just sounds like that Kathleen basically lets them do whatever the fuck they want once, like, the project is off the ground.
Yeah, and see, that's, like, the problem, right? Is that, depending on who it is, like, you get something great like Andor, where they have so much freedom, or you get something like Ahsoka or Kenobi or fucking Mando Season 3, like...
I mean,
it's so hit or miss when...
The thing is, it's like, I've seen a lot of people say that that Star Wars needs a Kevin Feige, and I don't really want that. I don't want... Because, like, you can tell when Kevin Feige has his fingerprints on things, right? I absolutely do not want that on Star Wars. I like the idea of giving it to creatives and letting them run wild, and I understand that means some of it will be bad, but I will take bad things made by genuine creatives, like, over studio shit.
Yeah, I think there's a line.
For sure.
Like, House of the Dragon, I've been watching Season 2 of that. The fucking directors they got are so bafflingly incompetent. Like, there's just, like, things that, like, as an editor, you know, with no professional experience, just, like, working on my own shit, I would never, ever make something look like that. And, like, there's just so many. It's like I feel like you just need to find people that, and then you look up who these people are on IMDb. It's like, oh, they've never done something like this. Like, duh, that's why it looks like shit.
Yeah.
I feel kind of the same way. Like, there's just a middle ground where you need to find competent people who can handle something of this scope and like make it good.
Yeah.
But also, don't just limit it to the point where there's no creative expression, because then what's even the point of like...
Yeah, and it's like, I think like Acolyte and Andor are two examples that I think are really how you set up a show like this. I didn't love Acolyte. I thought it had a lot of flaws, but with Mando, it's just two dudes.
Yeah. Last time Jon Favreau had creative control, he wrote himself a scene where Black Widow is changing in the back of his car.
I forgot about that. But yeah, moving on, we have Skeleton Crew. And this, alright, for anybody who doesn't know, this show has a fucking insane lineup of directors.
Yep.
You got
Daniels.
Yeah, you got John Watts, you got David Lowery, the Daniels, Jake Schreier, I don't know how to say that. Bryce Dallas Howard, who, you know, likely plays for her to be. And then Lee Isaac Chung, who recently did Minari and Twisters. But a very, very crazy lineup of people directing this.
And why this thing for those people?
That's my question too. I would be curious to hear John Watts talk about how he selected this group of filmmakers. Because, like, I think it's obvious Bryce Dallas Howard and Lee Isaac Chung, they came over from, Mando season 3 and stuff. But,
right.
Like, I would be very curious to hear how Jake the Daniels and David Lowery got on board. Because this is just a very unlikely place for them to be.
Yeah, and you told me that the Daniels were brought onto this before the success of Everything
Yeah.
Everywhere, which is...
Well, okay, here's a fun bit of trivia. They were offered Loki.
Really?
Yeah, and that was before Everything Everywhere. Which, that worked out for the best, because we got Everything Everywhere, and we got 2 really good seasons of Loki anyways, so I'm a happy guy. But, yeah, so they also debuted a trailer for Skeleton Crew. Reece, we got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I am just a little nervous about the fact that, like, it seems like the kid performers are going to be kind of, the whole show is going to hinge on that. I don't know if those performances look very promising based on what I've seen. And, you know, I try not to be like an asshole because it's like, okay,
yeah.
I'm a grown man making fun of 9-year-olds, but like, when I'm watching especially a show, it's like, I need fucking characters that I, like, feel very strongly invested in, and I feel like they're, like, real characters that kind of breathe on their own. So I just don't know, and I think Jude Law will be a good anchor.
I agree.
I really hope like he doesn't show up like halfway through. I hope he's in a lot of it.
Yes, that's a really good point. I didn't even think about is him showing up like a couple episodes in. Okay, so I hate Star Wars Suburbs. I hate it and burn it, and I don't like it. The thing is, I don't mind seeing middle-class Star Wars because we don't see that really in the movies much, if at all. We see a lot of rich people and a lot of really poor people. So I like the idea of focusing in on middle-class people. This is not how I would do it, but I get it's like, I saw someone bring up a good point. It's like, you know, in the Spielberg, you know, like E.T., that those locations are meant to be boring. And they're meant to just make you feel kind of empty and just be stale. But now they're bringing back that kind of location to remind you of those movies. It's just really bizarre. And it's like, you're in Star Wars. You can do anything you want. Why the fuck are you doing this?
That's what pisses me off. Is like, if you give me one Star Wars thing, I'm going to make you the craziest fucking thing visually that you've ever seen. All the sets are going to look like nothing that has ever been made before.
And I think it's one thing if you're like Andor is very earthy, but it films in real locations and it makes it spices it up just enough to make it feel Star Warsy, and it's beautifully shot. So it's like it's easier to ignore that and be like, all right, they're not doing really many interesting things with the planet designs. Which I will also say Ferrix, Neamos, and Coruscant are both really fucking interesting to look at in that show. And I know Coruscant's been around, but they put a kind of brutalist spin on it that's fascinating. And Ferrix, great planet. So actually, I take it back. Actually, the planets in Andor are pretty cool. Because even like the oh my god, Aldani, the mountain planet, right? It is at first just a mountain planet, but the fucking like the lore behind that planet and the world building they do there is so interesting. Yeah, it's Star Wars. I'm excited. I'm gonna watch it. The trailer seems like it could be cool. I just gotta wait and see.
Yeah,
Um,
that's how I feel.
I gotta see more from it. Yeah, I'll be tuning in. We'll probably cover it on here, I'm sure. And yeah, so moving on from that. Oh boy, this is the one I am very excited to talk about. Uh, Andor, of
Yeah, you don't
course. We
really
were
like
just
the
talking
show,
about the
right?
planets. I hate it. No, they debuted a trailer for it, a little sizzle reel. It looks fucking incredible, dude. Oh my god. The thing that just I really love Rogue One. I know that movie gets a lot of shit, but I really love that movie. I love it. I think it's so cool. And I admit it's just because I'm a Star Wars fan.
The thing that's funny about Rogue One is like you remember when that came out and it was the second new Star Wars thing we had ever gotten, and it was like
Yeah.
everybody loved it. Like
Uh-huh.
anybody who's hating on that movie now, don't act like you didn't love that fucking movie. I loved it, and I think it's like okay now. Like I'll admit my opinion's changed.
The thing is, it's just like,
The
you know,
de-aging looks like dick.
yeah, the de-aging hasn't aged well. It was an interesting experiment. You'll never hear me say that's a good idea ever. But granted, it's just like Rogue One is just it scratched a little itch in my brain where it's like when I played with Star, and this is gonna sound bad. I understand, like I like this movie for very non-critical reasons. I
Yeah,
just like I just think it's
it looks
cool.
good.
It's beautiful to look at. Awesome score. I like the characters, but mostly it's just neat. When I played with Star Wars toys when I was younger, that's kind of how it played out for me. It was like shit like that. Uh, Andor, I like for completely different reasons. I'm gonna be completely honest.
Yeah,
Um, Andor is it's so well written. It's so well shot. Like everybody is firing on all cylinders, and I think it was interesting when because I was writing for that show before it even came out, like well before it came out. I actually have a poster on my wall, an Andor poster, and in case I need to like back up what I'm saying here, I have a poster on my wall that has the original release date on it before it got pushed back. I bought it the day after the trailer came out. As soon as I could, I bought a shirt and I bought
you're a
the
day one
poster.
fan.
I was, and I was excited for it before the trailer even came out. So I was like, it was very vindicating. And then the show came out and nobody watched it. And it was a very interesting year of trying to get more and more people to watch it. Now, luckily, a lot of people have. Because it was this kind of slept on thing, right? This kind of underrated thing that a lot of people hadn't seen. But now it's pretty widely agreed upon to be fucking fantastic, which is very exciting.
Yeah, I think even if the show is way shittier than it was and still just competent, I think people would like it because we've just been dying for something that like feels fresh, you know, from Star
And
Wars.
that's exactly it. It's fresh. It's unique. It's interesting. And it kind of embraces a very angry political tone that Star Wars has never really had. And Star Wars has been political, don't get me wrong, but like there's just like a visceral nature to the show with its political commentary. And it's being a bit I would actually say it's bolder than a lot of Star Wars politics have been. Like granted, I think
Yeah, unless you factor in stupid people thinking that like putting a transgender actor in Star Wars is politics. Yeah, it would be the most politically overt if you're not dumb.
yeah, like
You know,
ignoring
because
the
some people
identity.
acolyte was Star Wars going woke. Like,
Uh,
yeah,
no, ignoring all the identity politics bullshit. I think like you look at like all the George Bush comment. It's so funny, dude. I had a conversation with someone, and we were arguing about Star Wars politics, and he was like, yeah, I just prefer my movies without you know politics in them, especially Star Wars. And I was like, well, what's your favorite Star Wars movie? And he was like, well, it's Revenge of the Sith. I was like, you do understand Anakin Skywalker is an allegory for George Bush. He's like, what? That doesn't make any sense. He's like, is that real? I was like, yeah. He's like, so George Lucas was comparing George Bush to Space Hitler, and I was like, yeah, man, that's exactly what the fuck he was doing. I think I broke him a little bit. It was just it's so funny that people like a lot of right wing people refuse to like read below what is directly said in the show. Like they don't understand subtext. Like I think we were talking
Yeah,
earlier about The Boys and how like a lot of conservative audiences turned on the season because it was just
yeah,
like less subtle.
yeah. It's just it's more in your face. But like that show has always been, and that's what makes me think like they don't understand that they're being made fun of.
Yeah, and The Boys has never been subtle.
No, no. But I guess to some people it actually was subtle. Like
Yeah, and also back to Andor. I think it is like some of the most biting political commentary because like you look, and I think it's even become more relevant in the last year because with A, like all the Trump shit, and B, all the stuff going on in like in Palestine. You know, Tony Gilroy listed, I believe, listed that as an inspiration for like, and there's a lot of damning parallels like between Ferrex and Palestine as well. And
hmm.
there's there's like a whole sequence in the finale where there is a person of color character spends the entire episode building a homemade bomb, and he throws it at the fucking police, killing a bunch of them, and it's portrayed as like the right thing to do. And I think it's like, yes, morals in Star Wars most of the time don't align with real life morality, but Andor is a show that is so based in our
It's so based.
politics. It is so based, but it's also so based in like the politics of our world, where I feel like it does draw a little bit of a clearer line between, okay, this is right, this is wrong, there's a lot of gray area, obviously, right? It is a show very concerned with more nuanced morality.
Yeah, that's
Which
why I love it.
And that's why I think it's a little more kind of bold to have a character like that chuck a homemade bomb at the police and portray it as the right thing to do.
And but that's the thing is like as soon as it's not like literally sitting you down and explaining what it
Yeah.
means, right wing people are not gonna pick up on it. Like
Yeah, it's really
I hate to
bizarre.
just like generalize like any group of people, even people I disagree with, but like
No, I mean it's specifically like there's a specific brand of right wing people, right? It's like the fucking
Yeah.
like critical drinker, geeks and
Oh my
gamers
God.
crowd, right?
yeah,
But it's that kind of group of people that generally is like this. It's not all right wing people. I'm sure there are right wing people who would look at them and be like they're fucking idiots. But
yeah, because also there are right wing people that I respect, and almost all of them are like it's the extreme far right ones that are just like fucking literally, Ouroboros eating their own asshole, basically. Like,
well, also some like you bring that up. It's like a lot of more right wing people that I've talked to that I like. All right, I at least get where you're coming from. Are people that are generally unconcerned with like the culture war bullshit. They they'll talk about like if you ask them their opinions on like economics or like anything actually policy wise, they'll be able to sit down and have a conversation with you about that. If you went up to your average Geeks and Gamers fan, this is some dude, fucking his teddy bear in his mom's basement. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And it's like, they're so fucking stupid and clueless that they will look at a show like Andor, and I hate being mean, but it really pisses me off. They'll look at a show like Andor and be like, finally, non-woke Star Wars. Like, are you fucking kidding me? There's a cop that kills an unarmed man in the first 3 episodes. There's an entire fucking arc dedicated to people being displaced from their homes. And there's another arc, the arc right after that. Sorry, actually, the episode right after that, Cassian basically gets racially profiled. Like, he gets arrested for something he didn't do and is sentenced to prison and then is basically forced to do slave labor. Like, you're going to look at that and tell me that there's no real world implications? Are you fucking kidding me?
no, it comes back to the same thing. Just like they do not understand what subtext is.
No, they don't. And the thing is like they'll look at Acolyte and they'll just see, lesbian witches and they'll be like, oh, this is political and it's ruining Star Wars. What the fuck are you talking about? That is not saying that actually, I mean, all right, actually, I will take this back. The witches do have like some political undertones, but like them being lesbian says fucking nothing.
That's not political.
It's not. It's they're saying jack shit. There's just absolutely nothing being said about our world.
And if you're trying to like at this point, if you're trying to resist the shit, you're literally only hurting yourself. Like
Yes.
it's not gonna change. No matter how mad you get on the internet, no matter how many times you tweet at Elon Musk.
Yeah, and it's just baffling to me that Andor became this thing where people were like, oh, I like it. It's not woke, and it's just like you're not paying attention to the show at all, or even bothering to read below the surface. And I hate being
Yeah.
that guy that's like, oh, you just don't get it. But in this case, like, you don't fucking get it because you didn't take the time to think about it. You know?
Yeah.
But all this to say, Andor season 2 looks fantastic, man. Like, I side tangent aside, like,
I really hope it's not woke, but yeah.
Yeah, I hope it's not woke either, and I hope the radical left stays out of it. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I am excited to see how the political themes of the first season do evolve in this. Because I actually, it's so funny. I had a lot of not arguments, but debates with people about like what some of the subtext was actually referencing. Like, we were going back between Bush, Reagan, Trump, like all these different eras of politics in which we kind of thought the show was pulling from. And I think it's just fascinating that that's like we were having those layered conversations about American politics in the context of a fucking Disney Plus Star Wars show.
That's what art's about, man.
I know, yeah,
Not to be that guy, but like
no, it is, and it made me really excited because I was like having actual intelligent conversations about this show, and then we just like you get to the next one and you're like, ooh, I wonder if Blurko will show up.
Yeah.
We went from talking about fucking like economics to talking about, oh, I really hope Blurko's in this episode. God damn.
What's funny is like I can't even tell if you made that name up or if that's a Star Wars.
That is, I don't think there's a character named Blurko, and I know my Star Wars characters.
I would believe it. I
would too. That's a Star Wars character name, bro. But yeah, man, I'm really excited. I'm so excited to see Krennic back. K2, Draven, seeing them with Andor writing is gonna be fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's give him some good monologues.
Yes. Yeah, no, I'm saying Ben Mendelsohn chewed up the scenery in Rogue One, so I can't even imagine what he's going to do with the writing here. And obviously Forrest Whitaker's back again, and his 2 scenes in season 1 of Andor were some standouts.
Yeah, I love him in that. I forget that fucking character name, but I really
Saw
like him in that
Gerrera.
role.
And it's funny, because I remember when Dave Filoni got promoted at Lucasfilm, a lot of people were like, oh, he's going to go shove his characters into Andor. But Saw Gerrera is a Dave Filoni character. He was introduced in Clone Wars. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Like, this show and Rebels are basically about the same thing, broadly speaking. So there's gonna be overlap. Like, it's inevitable. I don't really have a problem with it either.
Also, as long as it's good, like,
yeah,
you can justify bringing the characters back in the story, which I feel like they did that in season 1. Like, I think it's fine.
Well, so the way that it worked, because do you remember? All right, this is I don't know if you remember this, but they brought back Yularen, who was a character that dates back to A New Hope, but like more specifically, he's a big part of Clone Wars. He's the narrator, and so the way that I understand it working is Tony Gilroy will be like, all right, I need this character. He'll go to the story group and be like, all right, I have this like high-ranking ISP guy, and do you guys have anybody that fits this? And they'll be like, yeah, use this guy, and then he just plucks that guy in. So it's not like Gilroy's going out of his way to use other characters. It's just, he'll go and ask the story group, is there anybody that would fit here? And they'll be like, yes. And then they'll be like, great. And then that's the end of it.
It's also like, who can you get back who would be like alive and that age during this, year in the story? And like, I'm not super up to date on the continuity, but I think Andor is back a couple, like, during kind of the original Star Wars period, right?
Yeah. Right before A New Hope. But yeah, I'm excited for Andor. It feels really good to be this excited for Star Wars again. It feels really good. It makes me happy. It makes my heart happy.
Thank God Disney didn't axe this shit.
Yeah,
thank God it's getting a good ending.
Jazzed. All right, moving on to Marvel. We're gonna kind of speed through a lot of this because I don't think we have much to say about a good chunk. Starting off, we have Agatha.
Yep, I don't know why they made this.
That's another. Well, see, we were talking about memes being late. It's kind of the same thing with this show. It just feels like it's coming 4 years too late.
But even then, that's not even like a meme that I feel like that was such a small community of people that are.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. Like, when I watched WandaVision, I thought Agatha was the worst part of that entire experience. Like,
that's fair.
It just kind of felt like it became like literally Family Guy when she showed up. I don't know a better way to explain it than that.
Family Guy's crazy.
it was just like it was like so like wink and nod at the camera, which is like worked with what they were doing in WandaVision in the beginning, because it is literally like a fake show within the universe of the show. But then when you're doing it and you're still doing it at the end, and I'm like, this is the climactic set piece of the whole thing. Like, I don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they said that the one thing that's gotten me kind of interested is they said that each episode kind of riffs on a different horror movie. That's the most interesting thing I've heard about this show. I'm going to be honest with you, like, this entire time.
I saw that in the trailer a little bit. Like, they had, like, some sort of creature that looked pretty cool, but...
Yeah. If they lean into the horror stuff, that could be neat.
If it's like Werewolf... Have you seen Werewolf by Night?
Fucking love that. That shit was awesome.
Dude, that shit was fire.
Yeah, Michael Giacchino directed
If they did something like that,
that,
I would watch it.
But, yeah. We might cover Agatha. We'll see how I'm feeling when it drops.
You might have to pry my eyes open to make me watch that. I'm not going to lie.
After that, we have Ironheart. This is another one that's a cool trailer. It's a really sick trailer. It looks kind of cool. It looks kind of grounded. And then I remember it's going to Borat playing the devil, so that kind of hinders my excitement a little bit.
Is that confirmed?
Yeah, he's playing Mephisto.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan Coogler being involved definitely gives me a little bit of optimism. I just don't know if I don't even know, like, I couldn't tell you one thing about Ironheart as a character from the comics, so...
Yeah, I'm not too familiar, but it was a good trailer. I'll put it that way. A big day for people who like the Dean and Community.
Yeah, I'm insanely hyped to see Jim Rash return.
Yeah, Jim Rash is literally playing the Dean from
Danny
Community.
Pudi too. Danny Pudi was in Winter Soldier.
Yep. Bring back the whole Community, because I mean, geez, you got like 4 of the main people in the MCU now, right?
True. Yeah. They got Donald Glover was there. Who else?
Danny Pudi, you had Yvette Nicole Brown was in Endgame, and then you have Jim Rash, yeah, and then I guess Joel McHale and oh god, why can't I remember her name? The girl who plays Britta, motherfucker, I know her name.
Oh, Jillian Jacobs.
Yes, thank you. They're off doing The Bear right now, I guess. So.
Oh, she's in The Bear too.
She's in The Bear, yeah.
I didn't get that far into it. I did get to Joel, but.
How much of The Bear have you seen?
I saw season 1.
Ooh, you gotta watch season 2.
Is it good?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you like season 1?
Yeah, I just wasn't into the plot. Like, I felt like the plot was not that interesting.
You might be cooked. Because it's just not a very plot-heavy show.
But does it get, like, I don't know. Is there, like, payoffs to the, like, money being in the fucking tomato cans?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. That's literally what season 2 is about.
Okay. I'll watch it.
It's really good.
I have to, like, if I haven't watched it, just make me do it, but...
I bet.
I'll get around to it.
Yeah. So after Ironheart, we have Fantastic Four. It looks fantastic. I love the theme. It looks really good.
Yep. This seems like Kevin's baby, so hopefully it turns out. Yeah.
Captain America still looks not good.
I don't care about this movie.
And it's like, even if you removed fucking Sabra, I just like, Reece, I need you to walk with me here. So they put that character in, right? Everybody's like, this is stupid and dumb. Why the fuck are you doing this? Yeah?
Okay, can you actually explain why it's stupid?
No, yeah, I got you. So, basically the history is she is a Israeli superhero, and there is just, in her comics and stories, there's just a lot of really fucked up stuff towards Palestinian people. Yeah. There's kind of like this really shitty, weird thing with Hulk and her and like a dead Palestinian kid. It's really fucked up, a lot of her comic history. So they're bringing her in this movie and basically changing everything about her, right? Which begs the question, why not just make a new character, you know? And so alright, so walk with me here. They bring her in, they put her in this movie, and they're like, alright, we're gonna do this. And everybody online is like, this is dumb and stupid, why the fuck are you doing this? And then October 7th happens, and then Israel starts their siege on Gaza, and Israel becomes more of a controversial, like, figure than ever. Like, the public's perception on Israel has objectively changed a lot in the past year. And then they reshoot the fucking movie, right? So walk with me here, Reece. Walk with me here. You add in Giancarlo Esposito into this movie in the reshoots, but you don't take that character out. like, I'm going to ignore the moral implications here, right? I'm just going to ignore that. From a business standpoint, how the fuck does that make sense, Reece?
I have no idea why I have not taken that
Because
out.
it's like, people are like, I ain't watching this fucking movie because of that. And I'm like, I can't blame you. I'm not like a big, like, person who's like, I don't totally, like, if there's like a bad person in the cast of a movie, I'm not really convinced to boycott it personally, but it's like, when the actual movie is peddling a character like that, I can't really argue with anybody who's like, yeah, I'm not watching this shit.
Like you said, like they reshot it. They had a chance to. They could literally take Giancarlo Esposito's character, literally swap him out for. I already forgot the fucking. I keep
Sabra.
thinking it's her. Okay, keep thinking it's Silver Sable because I've been playing the Spider-Man game, but, um, yeah. But why? Why? I had no idea about this. That is like one of the most fucking offensive things I've ever heard.
It's just insane to me that they're that fucking ignorant, you know? It's just,
Right.
you can make new characters. You've done it before. Phil Coulson, original character, not in the comics, right? Like, you've had no problem doing this in the past, and it's worked out just dandy. You know, Luis, Kurt, Dave, and Ant-Man, they're basically new characters. Hope is barely in the fucking comics, if I'm remembering correctly. So it's like, you've had no problem doing this before. You have hundreds of characters. You can...
Yeah, and the characters that are from the comics, they sometimes just completely change everything about him.
Yeah, literally.
Like,
So it's like, it's so baffling to me. It just makes no goddamn sense.
yeah, that actually feels like somebody within the company is just trying to tank Marvel. Like, that's the only explanation that makes sense.
And all right, so I'm not Jewish. I'm gonna preface this by saying that, but a lot of Jewish comic fans were really upset with the way that it was handled in Moon Knight, and it's I feel for a lot of them, because this is just like even more frustrating for a lot of like anti-Zionist comic book like fans that are Jewish. They are just getting very shafted with the way that Marvel has been handling their Jewish characters lately. And I really like feel for a lot of them, because I've read a lot of stuff on Twitter from a lot of like really diehard like comic Moon Knight fans. Yeah, man, it's just baffling. I don't know what their thought process is there.
It is weird how blind they seem to be.
I don't know. I'm not excited for it. And again, as I said,
Yeah.
even if they took Sabra out, it just doesn't look very good. It looks like Winter Soldier Light to me. And that's sad, because I like Sam as a character, and I think he just deserves a better movie than this.
Yeah, and like, give me a reason to care about him.
Yeah.
Because he's gonna lead the Avengers now. Like, there's a line in that trailer where it's like Harrison Ford's like, "We need you to put together the new Avengers." Like,
Mm-hmm.
if he's the new like centerpiece of this team, like I need him to. I need something more than this.
Yeah. All right, and then the last thing we're going to cover today is Daredevil Born Again, which is the big one, the big juice, the big thing.
Yes.
Oh boy. All right. Dude, take everything I said about Captain America and then do the opposite of it, cuz this looks so good.
Yep. I'm nervous, like with the fact that they shot a substantial amount of it
Yeah.
already, and then are kind of like scraping it together with scraps, more or less. But we'll see. Like, I'm not gonna say anything about this because I really want it to be good. I kind of need it to be good, or I might just never watch a Marvel thing again. Like,
Honestly, I've said before that I'm on this ship till it's completely sunk. And that will continue to be the case, but if Daredevil is bad, like genuinely bad, then yeah, you're gonna lose me quite a bit more than I already am. Like, that is, in my opinion, Daredevil season 1 through 3, along with a couple other seasons of the Netflix stuff, is better than anything Marvel Studios has ever put out. Like, at all. I think Daredevil season 1, Daredevil season 3, Punisher season 1, Jessica Jones season 1, maybe Luke Cage season 2. We'll see on my rewatch. Is better than anything Marvel Studios has ever put out. I firmly believe that.
yeah, I don't know. they shot a lot of it without connecting it. So I what I hope is that we don't feel that in this season, you know.
Yeah.
Like I hope it's not you can look at the plot and be like, "Oh, well this is the part where they inserted
Yep.
the continuity shit." Like, you know.
Yeah, I'm with you there. But Muse looks incredible. Muse looks like
I agree.
really fucking creepy. I love the design. White Tiger looks sick.
Yep.
Like, just speaking of the new editions, yeah, they look awesome. And I've heard a lot of people kind of against the idea of Fisk and Matt teaming up, but I don't hate it. I can't lie.
It'll depend how it goes. Like, I think we need, like, some conflict between them. Like,
I agree, but even in the trailer, Matt's like, yeah, you step out of line, I'm going to beat the shit out of you, you know?
mm-hmm.
And I like the idea of them being forced to team up because, in the context of Muse, because Muse hates Kingpin, right? And I like the idea that it's just kind of like the enemy of my enemy type deal, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll just have to see how it plays out.
Yeah, after season 3, there's only so many places you can take that dynamic with them kind of both knowing who they are. But also returning, we have Foggy, Karen, Dex, and Frank, which is all very exciting. Yeah, it's crazy. They went back and reshot every Vanessa scene to unrecast Vanessa. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it was just,
that's
I
unheard
hope that's
of.
not obvious either. Because, yeah.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, what they did was they cast a new actress to play Vanessa. They shot a bunch of scenes with her. And then they went back, brought back the original Netflix actress, and they reshot every scene with Vanessa in it. That's insane. But, yeah, it looks like a more expensive version of the Netflix show. That's the thing. It's exciting. It's really exciting and terrifying. But the thing that's going to make this show interesting is Frank had 2 seasons of his own after he split off from Daredevil. So you're not just dealing with their history in Daredevil season 2. And Karen is a big part of the Punisher show, right? That don't forget that. And granted, the showrunner now wrote some of Punisher season 1. So I'm not necessarily worried about the history of that show being ignored. But it's just you have 13 seasons of television that you are now retroactively saying, okay, this is canon now. And it's just you're going to have to tiptoe. There's a lot of continuity you're going to have to stay in line with from Defenders, from Jessica Jones, all of that. There's a lot of crossover between those shows. Like Foggy pops up in Luke Cage. He pops up in Jessica Jones for a little bit. Karen is in fucking Punisher a lot, right? So Mahoney is in... I think Mahoney's coming back. I'm pretty sure he's going to be back in Born Again. He was in Punisher a lot. He popped up in Jessica Jones. Like, there's just a lot of bleeding over between those shows. And that's something you got to kind of be aware of. And a big thing is at the end of Punisher season 2, I won't really spoil it if you haven't seen it, I guess, but there's like a 6-month time gap at the end, which will place it after the events of Infinity War. It's a very brief scene, so they don't acknowledge the blip, but it's like 5 minutes, if that, and it's just them on a mission. It's just a couple of characters. So Frank was alive during the blip. If the Netflix shows are canon, then Punisher Season 2 is set. The ending of it is set after Infinity War. And it's just little nuances like that a lot of people would overlook, and I'm really hoping they don't.
Yeah, and given their track record of they kind of just let the people in charge just do whatever they want. Like, they don't really cross-check continuity super well, so we'll see. Especially they shot this to not even be fucking connected originally, so.
Yeah. Which is just, it's crazy to think about, man. It just doesn't
What did they gain from doing that? Other than they can just, like, kind of, write whatever they want to have.
I genuinely don't think that the people originally working on the show understood why people liked the original series.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Because they brought back
no idea.
They brought back the 3 most popular people from the Netflix series. I think it's pretty safe to say Charlie Cox, Vincent, and John Bernthal are the 3 most acclaimed characters, and they only brought them back. And I think that says a lot about their understanding of that series.
Yeah, because it's not just those actors, it's the character dynamics that make
And
them so.
what they go through. Something that I pointed out when they announced that Foggy and Karen were coming back was that, so I counted it up. I wish I had these stats on me. I should have brought them up before we started. But Karen has more screen time than Iron Man does, collectively. Foggy almost has more. Matt obviously has like quadruple.
Yeah.
So these are characters that I've spent more time with these characters than I had any of the other MCU characters. You know, it's something that you are gonna have to be really fucking careful with. And I'm still not totally convinced they're gonna pull it off, but I want them to more than anything.
Yeah, I think if anything, season 2 they'll give us some hard confirmations for continuity, but like,
Yeah.
I don't know, the season they might just hopefully like dance around it without actually completely ruining it. That's like, I think, best case scenario.
It's crazy that they somehow managed to do that. So let's see, No Way Home, She-Hulk, Echo, and Hawkeye, they managed to do that. Isn't that kind of nuts?
Yeah, I was waiting in like Hawkeye especially for them to give some confirmation.
Me too.
Yeah,
Oh, I was too.
it seems like they were directed kind of to not touch it. But that's weird, knowing that they knew their plan was to just reboot it.
Yeah, they brought Matt back, put him in the same suit, gave him the same theme. It's just so fucking bizarre. The day that Echo dropped and they finally said, "Oh yeah, this is all canon," was such a good day for me. I was so happy. Because I remember opening up Disney Plus and looking and seeing the Defender saga in the timeline, and I was like, God fucking damn it, finally.
Yep. I wish that show was good or interesting, because I didn't watch. I had to turn it off. I was like that bored. I saw the first episode. I don't even think I finished it.
The first episode is strange, but it gets better. Yeah, it was fine. It's a little messy, but yeah. All right, any closing thoughts before we wrap this up?
I do want to say one thing. When I was editing the last one, I realized I sounded like an idiot about. I've also like thought about it more about the Robert Downey Jr. shit. Fuck that casting. I just want to clear my name, all right? And if in like 10 years, if I'm in a job interview and they're like, "Did you say that you thought Robert Downey?"
You did say that, and you retract it now. That's valid.
I retract it now. I did mostly just want to play devil's advocate. I'm not gonna lie, but
that's valid. We'll be back soon with something. Thank you guys for listening. And yeah, any closing thoughts, Reece?
Nope. Just thanks everybody for tuning in. We love you very much.
All right.
And happy Andor.
Yes.